Coastal Carolina's home winning streak snapped. Locked on Sunbelt.
You are Locked on Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked on Sunbelt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost on NBA Future and get your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, lots of missed opportunities in the Sun Belt on Tuesday, Georgia Southern notwithstanding. Holy cow. These are the ball games that we talked a lot about with the head coaches when we were doing the previews. These midweek ball games are really important. They may be, oddly enough, a little bit easier later on in the year when it is conference play, because coaches are still trying to figure out weekend rotations, who's going to be my midweek guy, who played well in the spring. We got to give him a chance now, right? They're still figuring out a lot of things, right? We're still not got to the second weekend of the season yet. And so maybe we still got our frontline guys going now, whereas some of these frontline guys may be in the bullpen during the weekend, right? They may improve during the week that they are in the bullpen come the weekends, come conference play. All right. Nonetheless, that doesn't change the fact that the Sun Belt had a huge opportunity on Tuesday. I mean, listen to some of these matchups on Tuesday. App State was at Duke. Coastal Carolina hosting College of Charleston. Troy at Mississippi State. Arkansas State at Ole Miss. Georgia Southern hosting Georgia Tech. Texas State at Baylor, and the Cajuns at Rice. And right now, there's not a whole lot of wins on that list. We'll start off with the consensus favorite of the conference, Coastal Carolina. They ended up losing 4-3 to College of Charleston. They actually took the lead in the bottom half of the seventh inning on a wild pitch. Actually had a couple of runners on, couldn't get that clutch two-out base hit, which they so often did last year. College of Charleston scores 2 in the eighth to defeat Coastal Carolina 4-3. Is it the end of the world? Of course not. Is that a solid win for College of Charleston? Yes. Would it have been a solid win for Coastal Carolina? You bet. All right. They did lose their 16-game winning streak at home. All right. And I believe we definitely had Joey Katz, all right, Joe Catanacci, the voice of Coastal Carolina, talk about their last loss at home. They did not play very well, and College of Charleston beat them. So that, ironically enough, their last loss at home last April 22nd was to College of Charleston. The coach came over and said, you guys are going to end up hosting a regional, maybe even a super regional. Don't worry about this game. You didn't play very well. You guys are really good. This was a bad slip up. Hold your heads up high. I think that's what he said. The coach of College of Charleston came over and said, don't worry about this one. You guys are really good. All right. So we'll see what happens from here. Obviously, right now, Coastal Carolina is in a spot where they may not need that kind of win. All right. We'll see how it goes. But that's the kind of win where you get to be in the top 8 and you get to be a national seed and you get that opportunity at hosting, not only a regional, but a super regional. All right. I know they didn't need it last year. Not sure how often Coastal Carolina is going to be a top 10 team in the nation. Is that going to be a regular thing, or is it because of the pitchers from last year and this year? I had one of those coaches after we were done discuss, like, they had not seen arms like Morrison and Fluky up until they ran into them. I think it was the first conference weekend of the season. And they were kind of like, whoa, they're good. All right. And so I don't know if it's aberration. It's a nice little thing going on right now. We'll see if it continues to manifest it. We won't know that for a couple years, obviously, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, it's very difficult to get to where they want to go. Omaha, right? That's not automatic, right? That they're just going to show up in Omaha because they're Coastal Carolina. All right. They had some things go their way last year in the regional and got things to go their way in the Super as well. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Elsewhere, App State, they lost to Duke, unfortunately. And again, they got off to a good start, right? They scored 3 in the first. Unfortunately, Duke scored 4 in the third, 2 in the second. App State 1 in the fifth, but Duke came right back and basically put it away with 3 in the 8th inning. Let's see where we could pick up. Here's the problem. All right. This usually is the problem when you see a team with all of those runs. All right. App State walked 9 batters. Caleb Marks in 2 2/3 innings walked 3. Ethan Wilson in a third of an inning walked 2. Carter Stanford in 2/3 of an inning walked 2. You can't give up free passes. Caleb Marks gave up 4 runs on 3 hits in 2 2/3 innings. All right. Ethan Wilson, despite walking a pair in a third of an inning, didn't give up any of his own runs anyways. Carter Stanford gave up 2 runs on those 2 walks. All right, so that's going to be the problem. Let's see how Duke fared in the walk thing. Well, they gave up a bunch of walks too, actually. They walked 7, and that may have led to the first 3 runs, as it turns out. Jordan Rogluski, the starter, gave up 1 hit, 2 walks, 2 hit batters, gave up 3 runs all earned in a third of an inning. He did not make it through the first. So those are the kind of things when I'm talking about opportunities, there it was. There's that opportunity when you knock the starter out without him getting through 3 outs. And not because you hit the ball hard, you didn't even hit the ball. You got 1 base hit. 3 passes, 2 hit batters, and was it 2 walks or 3? I mean, that's how you get it. Yeah. 2 walks, 2 hit batters, 1 base hit. And they scored 3 runs, but they eventually gave it back, probably due to the walks. All right. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. Arkansas State lets one slip away. Just as I said that, I'm talking baseball, not basketball. All right. Too soon for that one. All right, we'll do that right after I tell you about FanDuel and Indeed. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals and live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole shebang. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. I love futures this time of the year. Whether it's picking up a team to win the championship or just grab a conference title, it adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can you pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel and the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When that pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is the job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's the stats that says it all. Since I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all the boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast, Locked On Sunbelt. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Before we move on and talk about Arkansas State almost getting a huge win, let's talk about that everydayer club that I have been mentioning as of recently. Thank you for making Locked On Sunbelt your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live Sunbelt sports every day, all day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Sunbelt with no interruptions, all for just $5 a month, or even better, $50 a year. Go to LockedOnSunbelt.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. All right. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Looking for the drink. That's too dark. Okay. Something felt like that got caught in my throat while I was reading those, so we tried to muddle through it. All right, Arkansas State had a shot. They were taking on number 16 Ole Miss, all right? And they fell behind 1-0, but scored 3 in the second. Ole Miss responded with 2 in the third. Then they scored 3 in the fifth. Here was the problem. Ole Miss scored 1 in the fifth. They got one of those runs back. They could have had a 6-3 lead. Instead, it was 6-4 heading into the sixth. Ole Miss scrapped across the run in the seventh, eighth, and ninth. And Arkansas State let Ole Miss off the hook. Ole Miss had 5 errors. 5 errors. Ouch. And got away with winning this baseball game. Only 3 of the runs were earned. The first 3 were not earned. So 5 errors is a tough way to win a baseball game. But that's the kind of game, again, that if Arkansas State wins that, that helps out everybody, right? That, in fact, this is their first loss. They would have been 4-0. How impressive would that have been? A weekend sweep, I think, over Central Arkansas. And, over Stony Brook, even better. And a win at Ole Miss. Not only would it be a win over the 16th ranked Rebels, it would have been a road win at that. That would have been huge for Mike Silva's Red Wolves. All right. Red Wolves. But they let that one slip away, unfortunately. All right. Troy falls to Mississippi State 13-7. Mississippi State ran away from this one from the get-go. 4 in the first, 3 in the second. Troy was able to score, able to scrape some runs across, but falls 13-7 to a top 5 Bulldogs club. All right, let's see what else we got. This one was ugly. Holy cow. Georgia Tech. This is where you want the run rule in. They decided not to have the run rule. They played it. Yeesh. Georgia Tech beats Georgia Southern 25-1. Georgia Southern still looking for their first win of the year. After putting a run up on the board in the first, they put up 7 in the second, 5 in the third, 2 in the fifth. Now, usually that would be where the run rule is, right? Or certainly after the 7th inning. 2 more in the 6th, 8 in the 7th. It's 25-0 after 7. They play the 8th and the 9th for good measure. Holy cow. How long do we think this game took? Not that bad. 3 hours, 18 minutes. Not nearly as long as I would have thought. No, not nearly as long as I would have thought. And Georgia Southern was at home. Oddly enough, they only walked 5 guys. They did give up 26 base hits. All right. Rodney Hedden said Georgia Tech's got one of the best offenses in the country returning, and apparently they do. All right. We're waiting for some of these games to end that are currently going on. Let me see if I have some other finals on the Sun Belt website. May not be the most up-to-date place. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. We told you that App State lost to Duke 10-5. We told you Coastal Carolina lost to College of Charleston 4-3. Mississippi State beats Troy 13-7. And Ole Miss over Arkansas State. Let that one get away 7-6. Jacksonville State slips past Georgia State. That's Georgia State's first loss of the year. That's 3-2. Let me see how that game went. Jacksonville State scores 1 in the 8th to tie it up and 1 in the 11th to win it. And those are the kind of games that, again, Jacksonville State's usually pretty good. You get those kind of wins on the road, and not only does it help your RPI or net ratings or whatever we want to go with, it helps out the conferences. And it was not a great night for the Sun Belt in this conference. That is for sure. All right. Cajuns trying to pull one off. This is by far their best pitching performance of the season. We'll probably still be doing this because we have another segment to come. Cajuns leading Rice, 3-0 in the 9th. They are looking good right then and there. All right. Baylor pulling away from Texas State 11-4. That's in the top of the 7th. And maybe not. I thought we were kind of stuck and the score just changed. Northwestern State just hit a 3-run bases clearing double to pull within 8-6 to ULM. All right. So it was 8-3 heading into the 7th. It's now 8-6. ULM tying run on deck for Northwestern State. That game probably, tying run coming to the plate for Northwestern State. That game probably will not be over by the time we're done. All right. But this Cajuns one very well may be. All right. So again, not a great night for the Sun Belt. I mean, not very many wins like at all, right? Like the Cajuns going to be early yet. We're waiting for South Alabama is trying to put their finishing touches on, and I had that one. They're trying to put their finishing touches on Nichols, and Nichols is making a late run. They scored 4 in the 8th, and now they got the tying runs in scoring position after a wild pitch. There's 2 on and 1 out. 7-5 South Alabama, who I do think won 2 out of 3 to begin the season, right? They started out, was it 2-1? Let's see. South Alabama was 2-1. Yeah. Okay. Southern Miss is not playing. James Madison's not playing today. They are playing. I don't even know if Southern Miss is playing tomorrow. Let me see. Or today, I guess. James Madison's playing Richmond. Old Dominion is hosting Manhattan, and Georgia State is at Mercer. So, Southern Miss is playing Southeastern, and they beat them. I'm sorry, I missed it. My bad. Southern Miss did beat Southeastern 3-1. All right, so there you go. I'm saying it's kind of tough not to have one midweek ball game this week. So we'll get into that rest of it. Let's see if there's any big series. Southern Miss is playing in the Round Rock Classic. That's pretty good. They get Purdue. As a side note, James Madison hosting Lemoyne. I don't know how many people know about Lemoyne. I grew up around the corner from Lemoyne. When I was a kid, didn't know him at the time, certainly not following college baseball growing up in Syracuse because it's just Lemoyne and they're Division III. But guys like Tom Browning and Jim DeShays went to Lemoyne. I mean, maybe they were Division II. They were like Division II powerhouse. And they've moved up to Division I. They are playing James Madison, but they had a long history when I was a kid of being really good. I wish I followed them more often than I did, but those are the guys who pitched at Lemoyne. A couple of guys making the big leagues. They are in James Madison. So worlds literally colliding. And I mean, Lemoyne was around the corner from where I grew up. All right, let's take a time out. And again, we're just going to continue this theme on how the Sun Belt missed an opportunity. And a lot of times we're worried about games that happen in, April and May, and it's games back in February that could have helped. We'll talk about that next after you watch this video from Mazda.
I'm Clea Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. It was a heavyweight showdown between number 3 South Carolina and number 7 LSU, and the Gamecocks rose to the occasion. South Carolina secured a hard-fought 79-72 victory to stay atop the SEC standings, using a balanced offensive attack to outlast the Tigers. Tessa Johnson led the way with 21 points, while Raven Johnson added 19. Medina Okot dominated the paint with a double-double, finishing with 12 points and 17 rebounds, while Joyce Edwards chipped in 10 points to round out the scoring. With the statement win, the Gamecocks now turn their attention to a road matchup at number 23 Alabama on Thursday. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Hi, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Let's continue and talk about some of these missed opportunities. And I want to see if we can go over it with Warren Nolan. And we're going to base it on last year. That's all we can base it on. All right. I mean, do we have RPI out now? Is that a thing? I mean, Elon is number 1 in the country. Is that a thing? Rutgers is number 4. UTSA is number 3. For that fact of the matter, South Alabama is 8th. There you go. Anybody else? UC San Diego, who's 1 and 2, but their 1 beat UCLA. All right. And they're actually going to be playing the Cajuns when I'm down there a week from tomorrow. The Cajuns are 24. They're sitting there. All right. And they got a big win. I presume that has gone final now. Yeah. Cajuns beat Rice 3-0 and or 3-0. And they moved up. It says 114 spots. Was that 189 spots? They are 24th. So obviously some radical things when you have an LSU team that is 27th and generally the consensus number 1 team. Nichols is 0-4, but they moved up 198 spots. So go figure. So let's go back. Let's go back to, and it's not fair, but let's go back to last year. So that's the comparison, just to see where these teams really were. Because otherwise, it's kind of tough to get an idea. All right. So that's where I want to see, where is let's see, do we have College of Charleston? I don't know. I guess the easiest way to find that out would be hit the Coastal Carolina schedule and then see if we can find College of Charleston on there. They were 99th. All right. So they were 99th last year. They had a good record, 37-22. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Obviously, their highlight was beating Coastal Carolina. But again, I'm obviously, Georgia Southern was not going to beat Georgia Tech. Troy didn't have a real shot tonight at Mississippi State. Arkansas State did. I don't know if they should have beaten them, but they certainly very well could have beaten them, right? They gave up a run in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Do we need to see how that all happened? Let's see here. Had an RBI double, bases loaded walk, and a sac fly. So the runs came home on one base hit, or just getting them home. And again, these are the things that, I'm going to go on Virginia radio later today, and they want to know if the Sun Belt can get more than 2 teams into the NCAAs, right? Everyone thinks that Coastal Carolina and Southern Miss are the 2 teams as of right now. And South Alabama is top 10. And can they? And these are the games that you got to win. You got to take care of these midweek ball games, especially when they present opportunities. Again, Georgia Southern wasn't beating Georgia Tech. All right, that's a mismatch. All right, it just is. And maybe even, Troy and Mississippi State just wasn't going to happen, Tuesday night. But again, we come back to the other one, Arkansas State. That's a coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? And I don't know how good Rice is. I feel like Rice has fallen like way off. Is that a thing? I mean, where do we think Rice is coming into the year? Because obviously the Cajuns moved way up after that win. So do we think Rice is all that highly rated? Rice is 171. Missouri State was actually 48. So there you go. That's the nice win. They lost twice, but they got a nice win. So they moved up a little bit. But they're playing Kansas State in a couple of weeks. That's big. Maryland, not so much, but you want to beat Maryland at 131. You get UC San Diego. We don't know how good they are. They beat UCLA once, but they got an RPI of 15 right now. All right. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. And, we're still a ways away from conference play. But again, these are the kind of games that, can set up the conference and set up yourself for, not go, what you're worried about when you're playing in the Sun Belt Conference tournament? You're worried about seeding. You're worried about what regional you're going to play in, right? You don't want to be in that, for me, you want to be in the top 30. You start falling in that mid 30 range, you are in big time bubble territory. If we want to talk about that a little bit, just like, again, we brought this up, I think in other episodes, like RPI for college basketball right now, Miami won again, I think 2 nights ago, and they are, maybe they've moved up a little bit. They're 33. All right. So they're getting off that bubble territory. All right. But lose one ball game, they're 23-0. Lose one ball game. Is the bottom going to fall out? Are they going to fall down to 50 if they lose one game? That's going to be rough. That's just going to be rough. As it is, they're 23-0 and in bubble territory. They're sitting right there on the bubble. They haven't lost a game. I know it's not the toughest of all schedules. Should we look about some teams that have maybe double-digit losses? Auburn is 34. Right below them, they're 14-11. All right. They have the second hardest schedule in America. So everyone would tell me, well, of course, Auburn would be undefeated if they played Miami's schedule. Maybe, maybe not. But even if you got the hardest schedule in the country, you got to win some games. You've lost 11 of them, right? North Carolina State actually had a big win. They beat North Carolina. They should have moved way up. They're 19-8, but they very well could be, I don't know how many games are left. 22-10 going into the NCAAs. Do they get in? I don't know. Anybody else? Like Virginia Tech is sitting at 50. They're 17-10. Wouldn't be surprised if they get in. There's not a whole lot of teams here with double-digit losses, to be honest with you. We'll see what happens come the NCAA tournament. But that's exactly what I'm talking about, that Miami of Ohio thing. They've won every single one of their games, and they are still just probably slightly off the bubble. But you get to the other side of 35, you're going to be on the bubble or off the bubble. That's going to be the problem. All right. And so you can't let opportunities like this go. Again, let's go over quickly tonight's schedule. James Madison at Richmond, Old Dominion hosting Manhattan, and Georgia State's at Mercer. Can they go 3-0 in that? 3-0? It would help. All right. And again, we don't have huge ball games. South Alabama is actually playing College of Charleston. All right. Troy is hosting Campbell. Georgia Southern at South Florida. We'll see how that goes. I told you the Cajuns hosting Maryland, and Texas State, coincidence or not, hosting Gonzaga. All right. I mean, Stephen Trout claims that schedule was made before they were going to the Pac-12 2.0. I don't know. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Going to enjoy another day off today before, oh my God, I have to work 5 days in a row before I go off on vacation for the better part of a week. Again, heading down to Louisiana. See me down hanging out at Walk-Ons, probably. We'll be there, and the Corner Bar. Been known to hang out at those places. I will be around for the first part of the vacation in Lafayette, and then Baton Rouge. My guy, Michael Avin, and his Northeastern Huskies are coming to town to take on LSU. That's the kind of the reason for the trip, but just the way the schedule worked out, I actually have 4 days off. I think I said this yesterday. I have 4 actual days off, including the day after I get home. So I get another break there. And so I'm just going down and going to see some friends that I haven't seen in a while and enjoy hopefully a little bit of warmer weather. It looks like it's going to be good weather while I'm there. So hopefully that will be the case. All right. Please go ahead and subscribe to Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. We'll get back into football, or not, I keep on saying football. We'll get back into basketball tomorrow and a little baseball. We do actually have games. James Madison's at Coastal Carolina and Troy is at Monroe. So big ball game for Troy. I can't lose to Monroe, and Coastal Carolina is all of a sudden hosting a hot James Madison team before we get a fuller slate on Saturday. And you got some huge ball games there. Texas State at South Alabama, enormous. Marshall and App State, enormous. Cajun and Arkansas State, not that enormous, but good. And Georgia State hosting Georgia Southern. Does Georgia Southern come out and play like they just did against Marshall? And can Georgia State snap their 5-game winning streak? So we'll go over all of that for tomorrow's episode. All right. And we maybe wait for those basketball games to end to talk about them. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.